Bodacious rant with Bird and Rye. Welcome to the show. Hello,
Okay,
everybody. I'm Byron.
and this is Ryan. You were listening to the Bodacious Rant with Burn and Ryan. That was actually no joke, a really good song. I think that should be, we should patent that or something, get that going. You know what I mean?
This shall be our theme song for Mandalorian review related episodes.
Oh my gosh, honestly, another great episode. I mean, do I like it more than the first one? I'm still deciding on that. I think it's just because it wasn't going where I thought it was going to go after the last one, but in all honesty, just still 5 out of 5 rantings, no problem.
You gave it even a 5 out of 5 rantings?
I still would, if not a very high 4 out of 5 rantings.
Okay. Would you consider that your non-spoiler thought, or do you want to keep going?
Non-spoiler thoughts, I will say again, it's another episode to dive into, a little more of the child itself this time, where the last one that's kind of more about, it actually wasn't even really about them, the last episode, where this one's kind of going back into the relationship a little bit and the Mandalorian with other characters. So I love seeing that lady again, the Tatooine mechanic, just because I think she was funnier in this. She was just as funny in this one as the last one. So it was just a
Hmm.
joy to have her in this one.
Yeah, no, I do agree that she has been growing on me these last couple episodes, more so than her initial appearance in last season.
Yeah, which again I can completely understand because I know that was your least favorite episode of the season, and her character felt very tonally off balance with what the whole show as a whole last season was very, very serious, very dramatic. This one I feel like has found a balance of a little more humor this time around. You
Yeah,
know?
I do think that they've decided, or I mean, in the writing and in the on directing and stuff, that they have been able to find that balance of comedy and action and seriousness, and it just seems like tonally, at least with these first 2 episodes of this season, seems like they've kind of got their footing.
And that's pretty common with a lot of shows, especially within their first few seasons, that they're still trying to find what genres they can kind of blend in or what episodes really work for them. So I think
Right.
this season it's already off to two. Not that the last season had, for me, it didn't have any real downs or anything like that, but
Uh-huh.
this one has a consistent tone through and through. Even though this episode took another crazy ride in the Mandalorian adventures.
Yeah, so yeah, I do agree tonally with these like first 2 episodes at least. It's been really solid, and then also I'll add on to that the action sequences that we've seen in these first 2 episodes have been pretty top notch. And I mean, like not a I wouldn't say choreographically like a step up from last season, but in terms of scale and budget behind it, you can tell that there's a lot of effort going on to these little action scenes that we've seen in these first 2 episodes of this season so far, which is pretty cool actually.
Yeah, even though, yeah, like they're still about the same scale fight scenes. Like maybe he's fighting off a couple characters and anything, nothing too out of the ordinary. But again, the way it's been shot and the effects behind the last 2 episodes,
Yeah.
you really do get a sense that they're definitely put a little more into it just to make it feel that much more real. Compare and the last one again, the last season was still fantastic. If you
Oh
want to
yeah,
do
absolutely
a
fantastic.
like it beats out. I think Disney Plus shows with The Mandalorian so far have beat out anything HBO has delivered, and that's saying a lot.
In terms of like budget going into the show, you mean?
Yeah, just effects and choreography and all that good stuff. I think it's beat anything I've seen on HBO.
Yeah, because I guess like the only competition would really be Game of Thrones, right? And yeah, I think I do kind of agree that a lot of the effects that we're seeing in here are, yeah, I would say they're a little bit better.
But like I said, overall, I really like this one. The child definitely took a little more center stage this time around, more so than the overall plot that he
Hmm.
already has in center in the like more so than he already has in the plot itself. But um, yeah, I really like this one. Again, it took a different turn than what I originally thought it was going to after the last one, how we talked about what we thought it was going to mean for the new season.
Right.
So it was a nice change and a good change of pace already. Like a good like okay, we went. It's like almost a roller coaster, but in a positive way.
Cool. Yeah, I do agree with that. And I guess for my non-spoiler thoughts, I will say that I did also really enjoy this episode. I can say that I did not enjoy it as much as the first episode, but the first episode is probably one of my favorites of the entire series so far. So that's kind of hard to do, have one great episode back to back. So I mean, and this one was, I would say, a little bit more of a filler episode for the series, which is, I mean, it is cool, and it isn't at the same time, which is as much of a low episode count that we do have. I mean, I think we're only expected to have another 8 episodes this season, so to have to have a filler episode in a very already short season is kind of, I don't know if it's the best choice, but I mean, what is cool about the filler episodes that this Mandalorian has done is what it also did in this episode was be pretty awesome in terms of what things we get to see, action sequences we get to see, and just kind of the little character moments that we do get between the main characters with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. So I did appreciate those in this episode. So for me, I would say I would give this episode a 3 out of 5, just because I was hoping the story would kind of progress. Take the baton from last episode where it left us on a really big cliffhanger, and I wish it kind of would have just kept going on with that. But regardless of that, since that's not what we got, I have to review it on what we did get, and what we did get was actually pretty damn cool.
Yeah, and I do agree with you. It does feel like a filler episode, which is why I may have given it a 5 out of 5, but I'm still thinking the last one was really great. And this one, yeah, I definitely felt like a filler just because, again, how I'm saying it took a left turn with where I thought it would go with the plot. However, the whole point of it being a filler this early on, I think, is not a bad thing, just because that means if there are only 8 episodes, that means we're going to get 6 crazy episodes of story coming up. And even what we saw in the last season, how there were a couple episodes that felt like, this is just a filler, or this is like, what does this have to do with the overall thing? And then it ends up laying the foundations for this season. So if anything, I'm looking at this episode. This is gonna be laying the foundations for another thing, like it's
Right.
almost like you're playing a video game where you're playing the campaign, and then there's a side mission that will lead to more things, and that's how that's how I would look at it, in that point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I do get you because I mean, right now it may seem filler and kind of unimportant, but it could be something where later on in the series it gets referenced to, just kind of like episode 5 of last season. What I would consider a filler episode where they were doing the jailbreak in that that space station, and that kind of has come back, in
Actually,
terms
that
of
was episode 6. Episode 5
episode
was the
6, right?
episode 5 was the Tatooine. Just wanted to point that out real quick before we
That's right.
kept
That's
going.
right. Yeah, because episode 4 was the one where they were in that small village, right, where he meets Cara Dune for the first time.
Yes, and he also meets that Native American actress from Wind River and that Liam Neeson movie that I actually quite enjoyed last year. And apparently she was also in Westworld, which I need to catch up on still. But that's cool
Oh
that she got her
yeah,
part
yeah,
in
yeah.
that.
That's right. She was.
Yeah, she's a very solid actress. I really liked her character, and again, I got to meet my one of my most big all time crushes, Gina Carano, as Cara Dune. So,
But
and it was
yeah, I
directed by
mean, like,
Bryce Dallas Howard, which kind of
yeah,
is cool too. It's like, okay, great, you can act and you can direct. That's a great sign.
yeah, it is. But yeah, so I guess episodes 5 and 6 of last season were what I would consider filler episodes. But episode 6 is one of my favorite episodes of that season, and that's a filler episode. So that's not I'm not trying to say filler episodes are bad by any means. Like they can be pretty cool, and like I said, this one was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. Where it's like a filler episode is not necessarily a bad thing. It just depends how it's done and what it means for overall the story. And we're gonna
Yeah.
get into it on how it's like a filler, but it isn't at the same time.
Hmm.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this will be spoilers, so please, check. I'm gonna put the time checks in and keep an eye out for that. If you don't want to get spoiled, please go watch this and then come back and listen to us and see what our thoughts are on it. But until then, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Exactly. Now it is time for the spoilers. Dum bum bum.
Exactly. And that the beginning of this episode was totally like I just didn't see it coming. Just the whole like how their speeder got topsy turvy, and I was like, oh my god, the child, what's gonna like? I just thought it was like, oh my god, this baby's gonna really take a hard hit. I don't want that to happen. That's terrible. But and it was really cool seeing Din master his Falcon or something, whatever his jetpack is called, just because how he was able to kind of catch himself midair with a few jet blasts. I thought that was really a really well done scene.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little more used to using the jetpack since we last saw him and at the end of the first season where it looked kind of like he was trying to like find his footing a little bit when he first used it in that last episode, but now he's kind of like been able to like navigate around with it, which is pretty cool. And it adds to the action sequences.
Yeah, exactly. And again, how he just fought off those bounty hunters, no problem. How he fought one of those little midget aliens, like from The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool and also pretty funny, just because the little one's just trying to do stuff, and then he just keeps stopping him. But when he had the knife against the baby, I just thought, damn it, you little circus freak, son of a gun.
I know, like how dare you hold that knife after Baby Yoda? I was like, Mando, shoot him right now. Shoot him.
Pretty much, and again, even though this one took a different turn, it's still very much. I just again, I love in the Western theme with this, that how it's like I could see it as that it was a couple of outlaws trying to just take down a score, this lone rider, and he just fought him off no problem, and they had the little like a midget criminal or something like that just try and like scurry away, but he ends up just getting him with the. I thought it was really funny
The
just because he's like,
jetpack.
yeah, he just has a like beep and just and he falls back down. That was again. That's why I think I said it was this season's found more comedy in it. Is that there weren't as many funny moments in some of these episodes last season. It was definitely trying to be a little more dramatic and serious, but this one is blending a little more humor into it.
Yeah, and I think that has a lot to do with just the directors of these first couple episodes. John Favreau. He has a pretty good hand in comedy with the roles that he's done. With him doing Iron Man and Iron Man 2, that's pretty comedy heavy. Elf especially is very comedy heavy. And
Which, speaking of which, I'm gonna start watching my Christmas movies this month.
oh yep, it's coming up, so you better get
for
those Christmas movies on lock.
for Black Friday before I go into work. I think I'm gonna watch some Krampus. Really get myself in that dark mood. You know what I mean?
Just Christmas is canceled.
But no,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
the director of this episode, Peyton Reed, who directed the two Iron Man
Ant-Man.
movies, and I mean Iron Man, yeah, Ant Man. Sorry, I missed Ant Man movies, and what was it? Yes Man, the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, I remember when Ant-Man was going through Edgar Wright, and then I forgot what other director. I was really excited to see Edgar Wright take over for Ant-Man, but again, we got Peyton Reed, and that's when Patrick Wilson left, and the whole story got rewritten. And it was honestly, it worked out for the best because Ant-Man had a couple of great movies, equally just hilarious and very
Yeah,
well done. So,
they're both pretty funny.
and this season, I think the directors have found their footing in the tone and the choreography and just the cinematography in general. It definitely has much more of a visual language, like a consistent visual language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially with them leaning really, really hard into the Western tropes this season, more so than last season. Because I mean, last season did it a lot, but right here it seems like they really, really nailed it down, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. And then I thought it was really cool too how I thought they were gonna get stranded after the whole like ambush, but then he just again just like a badass, almost like a samurai, just kind of carrying everything on a pole on his back with the child in hand, like in a little knapsack in front, and he walked all the way back to not Mos Eisley, but just the town he was in to stop by, or was it Mos Eisley? Do you remember?
No, I don't believe it is Mos Eisley that he's went to and that he meets with the mechanic lady, because she references it in a map that she shows him. So I don't believe that is Mos Eisley, but I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure.
Whatever place it is, let's just keep going. But I thought that was kind of a badass scene for him, just because we've seen him do some physical things throughout the show and be a little resourceful, but it's not like I've really seen him put to the test like that. And that was kind of, I know it wasn't a big deal, but I thought like, okay, so he's definitely like a warrior through and through, that he'll keep pushing no matter what to get somewhere. Like he's not completely helpless out of his technology. That's all I'm trying to say. And I thought that was a good thing to
Yeah.
exemplify that.
Yeah, what I do like with the the character of Mando himself, Din Djarin, is that he's not just this essentially just this unstoppable person, like I mean, yeah, he does win a lot of the fights that we've seen him in, because if he didn't, we wouldn't have a show if he died. But I mean,
Exactly.
at least it shows that he is vulnerable. Like, people do get the jump on him, and he's really able to survive just because of his resourcefulness and his scrappiness and his just like pure will to make it through to the end of the day. So I do appreciate that he's not just like this overpowered character that would just lay waste to everyone in front of him. That he does struggle sometimes, and sometimes people do get the better of him, but somehow he's able to manage the situation and come out of it on top.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm seeing definitely much more of a father instinct this time around too, or parental instinct with him, just especially when that bandit had the baby and the knife. He's like, just take whatever you want. And even though he was able to stop that bandit because he took his jetpack, like he had his plan, he's still, you just get the vibe. It's like, I will do anything for this child. Just please, like, don't do anything, or don't make me do something, that we're all gonna regret, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
it's nice seeing this relationship evolve and be more consistent, and which leads us into the next part where the mechanic basically sets him up to be a courier, or like a taxi driver, as he called himself, with that lizard creature, which
Yeah, the
is,
the frog lady.
I mean, she is and she isn't. She kind of reminds me of those little fat lizards that some people have. I don't know what they're called, like a salamander almost, but she's so adorable because she's just
Yeah.
big freakish eyes, and you get the vibe like she's just like, I'm just a mom trying to get my fertilize my eggs on another planet where my husband is, which again, as a Western, I would see that as like a traveler, if you will, like just trying to, or like not a colonial, but like maybe just someone who's making a pilgrimage to have her family with her husband, who's like in another town, or like a mining town kind of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Yeah, just someone seeking transportation to another town, which we kind of seen like in some, like Western tropes where, the hero has to begrudgingly escort someone to like a town or somewhere else where, there's danger on the road ahead.
Yeah, especially because how the mechanics, like, you can't use light speed. If you do, it'll kill her eggs, and she needs to fertilize them. Like, so you can't do any of that. And you could tell that even he thought, oh crap, I'm definitely vulnerable because light speed is the only way I could stay off anyone's radar.
Uh-huh.
And he here's the thing that I thought was pretty messed up about this, but also funny at the same time, is that you think the child, when he sees a little like jar of eggs, that he's gonna understand, like, oh, they're children too. Like, I'm not like, I'll protect them too. And
Yeah, like
instead,
they're just like
2 seconds later, Din goes down in the Razor Crest, and that's when we see the baby peeking his hands into there, and it's like, no, 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 don't do that, and just he's eating the eggs, like, well, like what? I mean, given he's a baby, babies will put everything in their mouths. Even my puppy, she's been doing that. Every time we go out, she always wants to sniff the rocks and or eat some leaves or something. So I'm trying to keep her away from that. And he's still a baby. He's learning, but he's just eating this poor woman's eggs. I just thought,
the
like, man,
last of her children that she'll ever have.
yeah, because that was the crazy thing, is like those eggs are like, this is her only children. So whatever's gone or whatever's fertilized, that's all that she's not having anymore. And he's just like, no, stop doing that. Like, how many did you eat? And he's just like burps at him, like, I've had a lot. It's like, stop.
Oh my gosh. Just throughout the entire episode, the little child, the little baby Yoda was a little demon. Just the
Dude, he was
entire
just
time,
a
just
he was just a bottomless pit, just wants to eat everything.
just his little tummy just got them in trouble over and over again.
And what I really liked about this episode too was that, he it also kind of showed that the Mandalorian, like, while he was very cultured in the last episode with the narrators and stuff, that Yeah, with this lady because she speaks a really weird language. He's like, do you understand anything? And she's kind of looking at him like, what are you saying? He's like, okay, forget it. Let's just get through this quickly.
Yeah, and then again, it just plays into him not being this overpowered character. He just doesn't know every single language in Star Wars and can communicate with everyone. No, like he knows a few and he doesn't know others.
Yeah, so I really like that. I kind of like that interaction just to kind of humble the character a little bit as Din Djarin. Like, yeah, he's a Mandalorian. He's a great warrior. He's a good, not a great, okay, not a good parent, but he's a loving parent. And yeah, he's still just he's uncultured in many ways too. Like they don't know everything, so that was kind of cool. And I really liked when he gets pulled over by those X-wings that Dave Filoni was the same pilot from episode 6, chapter 6.
Yeah, he comes back in his cameo role as one of the X-wing pilots.
I was kind of hoping they would bring back Rick Famuyiwa or who is the other one? The other female director. What was her name?
Deborah Chow.
Deborah Chow. I was kind of hoping they would all three come back, but at least they got Dave Filoni to come back and do
Uh-huh.
it, just because that was a really cool throwback. And again, how I said that was a filler episode, laying down the foundations. That was for this one, where that
Yep.
story is kind of just came back to caught up to Din, where those X-wings knew the Razor Crest from that one job, or they were like pulling him over. It's like, oh well, okay, you know what? Let's switch to channel 2, and that's when you see the X-wings get into fighting position with their flaps opening up. It's like, oh shit, like I'm
Yeah,
screwed.
like oh no, it's about to go down.
And honestly, I felt like this episode, I'm really fell in love with the Razor Crest a little bit more.
As a
Like,
ship.
yeah, because honestly, I tell everybody besides Darth Vader's and even Kylo Ren's ships, my favorite one is definitely the Slave One, just because that one was such a unique ship and it was also just again it was just so iconic. But the Razor Crest is growing on me in what it has, and I after seeing it a little more in action in this time around, I thought, yeah, I would want that ship too.
Yeah, dude, the Razor Crest is super dope. Like it's up there along with my favorites of the TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon. I definitely put it up there with those.
Yeah, but like I said, the TIE Striker, whatever Darth Vader's ship is called, that one's my favorite. Imperial fighter ship of all of them. But and then well, then minutes later after he gets caught up with those X-wings, they just take him down on the snow planet or moon, whatever it was. So that was like, oh, that sucks. You're trying to get this woman somewhere, and you just two steps forward, one step back, kind of thing, you know?
Uh-huh. This is one thing you feared, which was, traveling sublight, you'd get caught. This is exactly what happened.
Yeah, and how the ship is stranded. And I thought it was actually really cool that this lady, you think because they're not communicating and that she's just you don't know much about this alien, especially when Dan asked the mechanic, like, I thought you said you could vouch for her. And she's like, I'm a good judge of character. What it's like, okay. Damn it, that's not good enough for me.
Yeah, like I just met her 10 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh, that's why I also really like her because she's kind of like a quirky, like almost grandma, like aunt like character for to the child in Din, where she's gonna keep giving him, she'll keep helping him out with like directions or jobs, and but she's also just kind of like, I'm just doing me, man. What do you want from me? I'm not perfect, kind of
Hmm.
thing.
And one thing I did really enjoy, which I guess is kind of like a little bit of an Easter egg because of who directed the episode, Peyton Reed from the Ant-Man movies, was the ant alien that she was playing cards against in the cantina.
I didn't think about that. Now I see that, and that is pretty great.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice little touch there. We can call it Anthony. Rest in peace.
Seriously, just oh man, I didn't think about that. I thought that's interesting. We're bringing a giant bug alien, but then it's like okay, now that you point that out, that is a nice throwback to Ant Man,
Uh,
and she beat him in cards too, which I thought was wow. What that's so stupid. Um, and again, I know that we felt like this episode is a bit of a filler, which it can be, but at the same time, it's also continuing the story, kind of like the last one. Well, maybe not the Tatooine episode last season, and even the raw like the heist episode both chapter 5 and 6 from last season. But this one's still along the story that he is trying to find Mandalorians, and this lady supposedly on that planet she's going to see her husband on. That
Yeah.
there are some there, so it's a filler, but it isn't because it's still continuing the story. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, I completely agree with you. With the last ones, they were just complete detours to the objective of, what the first season was. This one is still very much in line with the through narrative of him trying to find Mandalorians to find, the home for Baby Yoda. So yeah, like you said, it's still on mission. It just so happens to take a really drastic detour because of circumstances.
Yeah, and honestly, again, just a completely different tone because how last one was on two desert planets, like in the beginning with that one snitch, and then on Tatooine again, and this time he just lands on a completely just almost ice planet. So that definitely changed the tone too, where it's not as much. It's instead of it being like a desert adventure, it's become like a survival story in the snow where he's just trying to fix his ship, help this woman get these eggs to a planet, and also just keep track of the child and keep him from eating her children. Like it's a comedic survival story.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, again, I just really like it when, IPs like Star Wars decide to play around with, genre. And this is very much a survival episode, in which, turns into survival plus horror, just a little later on in the episode. But I'm just really cool. I'm just really glad that they did something like that, where again they're just playing around with genre and tropes and just having really fun with it in this Star Wars universe.
Yeah, another thing too, I don't know about you, but did you get a bit of like an alien vibe when the whole next scene happened when the lady basically brought her eggs to like a hot spring in the ice, and again just how the baby's like looking at these eggs thinking, okay, they look interesting,
I'm hungry.
let me go waddle over there, and then he's just it's so adorable, but again, just so messed up that this child is just eating almost any living thing he can find.
Oh, he's
Where
a
it's just
savage.
like he's just poking at the egg, and how it opened up like Alien, where it's like almost like
Hmm.
a banana thing. I thought, I'm curious, like, did Peyton Reed just feel like, I'm gonna add a little Alien feel to this? You know what I mean?
I think so. I mean, I'm pretty sure like that they drew a lot of inspiration from Alien with the way the eggs were shaped to how it kind of opened up like it like blossomed at the top in its opening and how it's kind of like gooey on the inside. And just the design of the Krykna spiders, what that they're called, that come out of it look like face huggers. So I mean, I think it's definitely heavily inspired by Alien.
Yeah, one thing I did see, I don't know if you can confirm this or not, is that supposedly these spider creatures that Vin and the mother and the child come upon were originally intended for Empire Strikes Back.
I did hear about that they were supposed to be it was that instead of the big Yeti, right? That Luke was gonna encounter.
And I wonder if they changed that
The
just
Wampas, right?
because
I think that's what they're called, Wampas. I don't know.
no, Tauntaun. The
The
Oh, you're talking about the Yeti things?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know what those are called, but
Yeah, it is a Wampa. I was
okay.
right.
I was just thinking they ate the Tauntauns,
Oh yeah, they did eat the Tauntauns.
but I wonder if they decided to sideline that design because of the success of Alien in those movies, because they all came out around the 70s and 80s.
Right. I mean, I could see that, or I could also see, these things are really gross looking, so maybe having that in like a big budget movie where a lot of kids are going to see it, maybe they thought at the time might be a little bit too much.
That, and honestly, the way they were designed too in this one, I don't think the effects could have pulled off back then for something like this.
Oh no, absolutely
Like
not.
like they could pull off some other creatures in the Star Wars world, but nothing too technically complex that's like a prosthetics team or a not stunt coordinator, but just like anyone who helps make those creatures and stuff, that it was out of their realm, out of their reach to do so. Because
Yeah, not that they couldn't have done it, but to have it as look as good as it does now, it probably couldn't have been done.
yeah, I definitely don't think it would have looked good. So I'm glad that was pretty cool, and they turned out to be pretty intense actually. Just how it's
Uh-huh.
like you have a bunch of babies, and the child immediately got the vibe like, wait, there's way too many of you. Like, I can't eat all of you. I better get going. And just how he's waddling over to Jim is just adorable. Just like,
Oh
hey,
my gosh,
Dad.
all the little baby Yoda running in this episode was I'm here for it.
He's so adorable to watch. Just oh my God, it's hard not to watch him, but such a savage for just eating the woman's children, her eggs left and right. Because even at the pool, I like how he's trying to reach for him. And he's like, "No, like you
Uh,
know, I told you not to." And he's like,
like he
"Well,"
finally has to discipline him.
he's like, "Well, fine, I'll find something else." But that was pretty cool how they're just like swarming him, and as much as his tech, like how we've been talking about how he's been vulnerable. This episode is another one to show how much vulnerable he is when he comes to like a natural threat. Where these spiders, the Krykna spiders, are just swarming him and are overpowering him essentially just by sheer numbers. And even when he lays down
Mhm.
some mines, shoots them, flamethrowers them, it's not enough. Like he can only do so much.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and as they're just like basically tearing up, going through the ship, and it's like at the cockpit, I thought they were really gonna get away, but then another big one just comes out top, and I thought, ah, shit, this sucks. Like, damn it, you couldn't get out of there, did everybody get out?
Everybody panic! Get the bug spray.
But and I honestly didn't see that coming too. That the X-wings were gonna come back. I figured they just kind of thought, oh, he crashed on this space planet, that this ice planet. That's it. That's the end of him. And it was
Mhm.
cool that him and that other that Asian actor, I don't know his name, but he's been like, dude, where's my car? He was in an Even Stevens movie, and I forgot who else, what else he's been in, but I just liked how they were just kind of shooting, helping him in the end, just because it's like, well, you still have to answer for that crime, but at the same time, you did do something for the New Republic, so it's like we
Yeah.
could take you in, but you kind of helped yourself with that because then it makes you think like if he was really a stone cold kill in that episode, this definitely would have turned out to be super different.
Oh yeah, if he was just a bad guy, then yeah, exactly. He would have died in this episode because there was no way out for them. But yeah, I thought that was really cool that like his good actions from the first season again have consequences, but in this way, they're good consequences because it ends up saving his life because those X-wing fighters they saw, okay, this guy was a good dude. We're gonna do him a solid.
Yeah, I mean, even though he said, "Yeah, can I fork over the bounties of those three criminals, and you guys can help me fix the ship?" And they're like, "No, you're still a criminal. We're not, or we don't care. You're on
Uh,
your own." I thought it was a little like messed up. At the same time, it's like I can see that. That's fair, I guess. Like,
yeah, I guess they're about even.
yeah, and you can tell when he's just staring up at him like, wow, thanks. You guys suck.
Like yeah, thanks for the help, guys.
Pretty much. Overall, this episode definitely felt a lot faster than the last one. I think because it shaved off a couple minutes compared to the first one.
Yeah, I think it was like 10 minutes shorter. I think it clocked in at like 40 minutes around there.
Yeah, and the last one was like what, 50 something minutes or 50 minutes?
Yeah, like 55 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, so that this one definitely felt shorter, and I know I wanted to be longer, but I think it would have been a little too much if they tried to make this one longer than what its runtime was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially for the story that was told in this episode. If you really couldn't drag it out too much because it would just be, again, it would just feel just like, ah, okay, we can move on now. But like I think the pacing in this episode was really well done.
Yeah, and again, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Obviously, the next episode. I hate and love the show at the same time. Love it how great it is, but hate that I have to wait every week for it.
This is when the weekly releases really come back to bite us in the butt because I mean we can enjoy it, but then we're just like, I need the next one now. I got to get my fix.
Yeah, because at work I was talking with a friend of mine who works at another store, and her friend, and he is like, "No, I want to wait till all the episodes come out." And I thought, God, that is tough to wait basically wait 2 months
Oh
for the show
man.
to be finished, and you're gonna try and avoid all these spoilers. Like, I personally couldn't do that. I'm either
Mm-mm,
gonna
I
watch a
could
bit
not.
of it and then I'll stop just because of whatever happens, or I'll wait till it's completely done if I'm not that interested. But this is a show I'm like, I have to watch every week. I have to keep up with this, or I just And honestly, there's not a whole lot out right now to watch. Like I could try other shows, but honestly, I'd rather watch a winner. I'd rather be the watch the front runner in entertainment right now.
Exactly. This is the hot ticket right now. I got a front row seat, so I'm here every week. I cannot wait for episodes to drop. I just don't have the patience for that, especially with Star Wars.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I need to be entertained right now.
Calm down, just calm down. I remember Disney showed me that skit in college, and I just thought, "Oh my god, this is easily my favorite person." Just,
Oh my gosh.
just a ghetto
Abraham
Abraham
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
For those of you who don't know, it's the whitest kids you know, but the Abraham Lincoln sketch, how what really happened when he died.
Oh my gosh! If you haven't seen that skit, please watch it because it's so stupid and obnoxious. It's hard not to
Uh-huh.
laugh at.
Just essentially turns Abraham Lincoln into that annoying person in the movie theater. Yeah.
Turn to 11, just a total a hole of a theater goer. Oh man, but yeah, this episode I would like again. I liked it. I still give it a 5 out of 5, strictly just because there were many things I liked about it, like the female frog lizard lady, whatever she was, because she was adorable. I could sympathize with that. Just that she's just trying to have her family and be safe about it. And
Hmm.
again, she's literally carrying precious cargo. Like that's a literal thing. And so is he, and that's why he kind of reluctantly helps her. Like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing. I just wish it was under better circumstances. We could do what I need to do to ensure our survival. But in the end, it worked out for them. They were able to get off the ice planet, and I assume they're going to travel. I wonder if that's where it's going to lead to, where we'll see Sasha Banks's character. Where he's at the
Yeah,
ports or something. Especially because if there are Mandalorians on that planet she's talking about, they're going to point him in the right direction. Maybe that's where they'll see her. Maybe she'll be not Bo Katan, but the one that go the Mandalorian character that follows in Rebels. What's Ezra's the one
oh,
that fights with
Sabine?
Ezra?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Sabine,
wonder if
Sabine
she's gonna
Wren.
be. I wonder if she'll be Sabine Wren.
That'd be interesting because a lot of people are theorizing that Sasha Banks is playing that character. We won't know for sure until next week, but I mean, I think it's probably a good bet. But I mean, I don't know. As far as I know, she's in it, so we're probably gonna see her next episode because of just the way it looks like we're going to like a water planet. And again, from the trailers, that's what we saw. We saw that character, standing, by in these ports in a cloak. So, I think we're definitely going to see that next episode.
Yeah, honestly, now I thought about it, like how I thought Mandalorian was a bit of like a samurai in this one. I kind of want to see him go against a jet. Like I think Ahsoka, if he ever when he meets her, if he does truly meet her, she'll be like a samurai and he'll be like a cowboy, and they're just gonna be like kind of going at it. Like it'd be cool to see a standoff between them a little bit. Just like he draws his gun and she's just gonna be like, "Nope, I don't think so, dude." You can pulls out her lightsabers, like, what do
Uh,
you want, bro?"
that would be so cool to see. I'm just excited. I really do hope that we do get to see Ahsoka pretty soon because she's one of my favorite characters. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I cannot wait. I need all the episodes now, but I don't want them all now because I wanted them to last long. Oh, gosh,
It's,
it's just a
so,
wealth of goodness.
such a range of I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Just give me all the Star Wars, but not at the same time. But at the same time, please. So,
Just
do
too
you
much.
want it now or do you not want it? Yes. To which one? Both of them.
Can't or won't. Both. I don't care. I always love that in Archers. Like you can't or won't. Either, both. I don't know. Now screw already. I got stuff to worry about. It's like oh man.
Oh
But
gosh, that's just how it feels right now. But I mean, I really did like, this episode, like I told you. I mean, I did give it a 3 out of 5, but I do think that it really did go a long way for, I think, Mando as a character, where I think we're getting to see him more as a parental figure now, not just, someone who's like, oh, I care about this kid, but someone who actively has to parent this little booger now that he's getting into trouble and doing all that. And then just his mission, having to transport this mother and her children. I think that's, making him appreciate his relationship with the child a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely a different tone just because the last one, how you basically said it, that he was his own, he had his own life, his own goals of just being a bounty hunter, just doing every job. Where this time it's a detour from that he has to watch this child, and again, I think it's just about becoming a parent, but also just kind of thinking like, what am I going to do at that point? And I kind of want to see that conflict within him. Like, am I going to give this child back to his race or Jedi, or do I raise him to be one of my own, a Mandalorian? Because some people, I'm sure plenty of people are listening to this and thinking the child won't be a Mandalorian. It's like, well, technically, that's a creed. It's not a race of people. Like, there are Mandalorians from Mandalore, but essentially anyone can be it if you're trained in the right way. Like, the character from Last of the Mohicans, or Jungle to Jungle, Mimi Siku. I was watching that earlier today.
You just had to throw in that the jungle to jungle reference, didn't you?
I don't know. I kind of thought about it, but what I'm saying is, I guess that anything can happen with this show.
Yeah.
There's no specific. There's no way of saying we know what will happen with him, just because this show has gone up and down, has taken so many turns that it really is a toss up, and I can't wait for it. Like, we're already, if there are 8 episodes, we're a quarter of the way through, so we still got 6 more to see what will happen, and it just gets me excited to think about it every time.
Yeah, because it really can go in either way. It could end up, again, he becomes a foundling, and Din Djarin is the one who raises him into the Mandalorian creed, or say he finds a Jedi, and the Jedi just so happens to be Ahsoka, and Ahsoka takes on the child to raise it with the Force and through her own Jedi order basically, or does he actually find the planet where this child is originally from and reunited with his people? Again, it could go in either one of those directions at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, I was thinking on it too, is that if he does get raised by a Jedi, like, before we conclude our spoiler session, that it'll just be a giant plot hole on where have they been for the last 30 years, like when Force Awakens and the sequel trilogy happened. Like, where have they been? Why wouldn't they have tried to stop the the First Order? You know what I mean? So they're definitely, I think, and I have faith in Favreau and Filoni that story wise they have to take that into account, and they are gonna work around it. Like, Clone Wars definitely took some liberties that strayed away from the movies a little bit, but in the end he tied it up very well in the Clone Wars with that last season, how it works with the other movies. So it's
Yeah.
it's a bit of a conundrum in that, and again, that's why it's such a toss up, because we don't know what will happen, and that's why I
Hmm.
think they could definitely do a time jump in another season to after the sequel trilogy, where Din could be dead or on the verge of retirement, and the child could just be either a Jedi or taking over the Mandalorian helm. Where he could still be a child learning to master everything, have his own cool Beskar armor. I don't know.
Hmm. That'd be sick. Little Yoda with some Beskar armor and
Just
a
because,
dark
again,
saber.
oh, that would be dope. Because I remember there was this piece of art on Instagram that I really loved, where it was basically a recreation of Boba holding Jango's head in his helmet on Geonosis, but in this time it was like a baby, basically the child as like an older character, like a young Yoda, holding up Din's helmet to him like, father, like, I wish you were
Oh
still
man,
here.
you got to
And
send
that,
that to me. I want to see that.
I will definitely find it. It's in one of my saved pictures on Instagram, but it's one of my favorite pieces of art, and that's what really gives me hope that maybe Din will raise the child to be a foundling and be a Mandalorian, because it'll just keep the story going about the Mandalorian. And even then, there's a couple arguments that, or another theory I have, that the Mandalorian is not even about Din; it's about the child itself. That the child will be
Ah,
the
the
Mandalorian,
the title is in reference to the child itself instead of Din. That's interesting.
which would really be cool, just because, again, it would just be such a new, interesting character to add on more to Star Wars and its lore. So Yes, but I think that concludes our spoiler session now, ladies and gentlemen. If you come back to this, if you didn't want to be spoiled, please watch this episode as soon as you can if you haven't already. It's definitely on the shorter side compared to the first one, and it's just as exciting. Maybe not as great as the first one of this season of chapter 9, but chapter 10, which is the second one for season 2, is still a solid episode.
Yeah, still absolutely fantastic television that we got going here.
And honestly, I'm so glad that this episode happened just because it's been a long week. I've been working all week. The election has been going on, so there's just coverage and people at work just it's
It's nice to get away from all that in a galaxy far, far away. That's for sure.
yes, it's taken my mind off things. So, but now, we have a new president, so there's a new change coming with that. The holiday season's coming up, so and Tenet actually has a pre-order date on Best Buy and everything. So now I don't have to worry about trying to see it in the theater or waiting for it to be in a theater. So I can watch it.
Lots of good things to look forward to.
I can watch it comfortably in my home this Christmas. This December, which will be lovely just because I could snuggle up. Either what and just put on my sound bar or my surround sound, just blast it with all this epicness.
You're just gonna go deaf by the time I see you next year.
Hey Ryan, have Merry Christmas. What?
I said Merry Christmas. What?
What? Are you
Merry Christmas.
Are you part of me? You talking to me?
Oh God, I can see that. I can see that happening.
And again, just with the cameos. So again, this is another thing I can't wait to look forward to is the other cameos like Timothy Oliphant, Tamora Morrison, who I hope is going to have more of a continuing role. I still want to see him as Captain Rex and Gregor, and who was the other commando that survived Order 66? It was Gregor. Was it Wolf? I think Wolf.
Something like that.
Wolf, Rex, and Gregor, they survived. They basically were able to avoid the scourge of Order 66, and they were the ones who were working with Ahsoka and Rebels, which I still need to watch. I still need to catch up to that point in that season because that's the main reason why I wanted to watch it. Was just because I want to see an older Ahsoka and see the older commandos. And actually, again, we see Captain Rex in Return of the Jedi. Actually.
Oh yeah, apparently it's been retroactively said that he is in that movie. He's that one dude in Endor, right?
With the righteous white beard, yeah, which was pretty awesome.
That really, really thick white beard.
But
which is it's a cool detail that they can go back and do that. That is pretty cool. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, and then I don't know. There's been a bit of slow news, partially just because with the election and everything going on right now. So there's not a lot of entertainment stuff going. Wonder Woman's still a toss-up in the air if it's coming out.
Right.
And Disney took off Free Guy and the Death on the Nile movies. They pushed that off this schedule this year. So, and it's just been a crap year with entertainment. Like there's been some great things coming out. Don't get me wrong. Like we got Mandalorian, we got The Boys. Both season 2s are off to a fantastic and strong start. A continuation. But like movies and stuff, it's been a pretty lackluster year. So thanks a lot, COVID.
Just in the words of Deadpool, at least we got Mando.
We'll always have Mando.
This is the way.
I think that'll do it for me. What about you, brother?
Yeah, man, that's gonna be it for me as well. I did enjoy this episode. I'm ready for the next one. Again, I just cannot contain my excitement. Whatever Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau got prepared for us, I'm here for it because those guys have my full confidence.
Absolutely. Anything they work on Star Wars wise, I am all on board after this. If they want to do another episode, actually it'd be cool if they did a show on like the Old Republic or like a Jedi show or a Sith show and just kind of chronicling stories of certain iconic Sith or Jedi, you know what I mean?
That would be sick.
That would be like each chapter could be a different warrior. They could do like Darth Revan in one episode. They could do something about them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just continue Darth Vader's adventures as just because in the comics he's done some crazy shit.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see like him in his prime evil days.
Yeah, especially because like the movies definitely don't do his extra story any justice. It's still like, no, if we got another show with him, it'd be crazy cool. But again, the point is, if Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni work on anything Disney or Star Wars, I'm all on board with it because they are story geniuses at this point.
Yeah, yeah, they're super nerds, and it really shows.
Absolutely. But until next time, Call of Duty comes out next week, so we got that to look forward to. PS5 and Xbox Series X, I believe is correct. They're all coming out next week. So whoever's able to get those, we'll see you whenever you guys are out of your caves playing those consoles.
If anyone ever gets their hands on an extra PS5, just send it my way. I'll take care of it.
No, it's okay, Burn. You don't need one. You don't need one. I got it. I got it. Oh yeah. But anyways, we'll reconvene on the next episode for sure. So
Absolutely.
everybody keep an eye on that, and we'll again any guy thoughts you guys had on this show episode, please send them our way and give us a like, recommend to a friend to get the conversation rolling.
Exactly. And then most of all, be good to each other and be safe because that is the way.
This is the way.
This is the
Until
way.
until next time. Good evening, my friend.
May the force be with you, my brother.
And you.